Hey, what's going on, guys? Ray Shapley with Where to Live in Austin. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the neighborhood Riverplace. However, I'm going to try a little bit different approach this time. So rather than just me telling you the stats and talking about a neighborhood, I actually want to have someone on the show who lives there and has lived there a long time, knows it well. Happens to also be a good buddy of mine and my personal lender. And probably if you called me asking for a lender, this is the person I would send you, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. So John, thanks for being on Where to Live in Austin.
Thanks, Ray. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So I wanted to have you on. I know you haven't prepped for this at all, which is perfect because I just want real candid, kind of put you on the spot. I got a series of questions to ask you, and I want to just kind of get your thoughts about living in Riverplace and, your experience there. Cool?
Sounds great. All right, fire away.
Awesome. Okay. So my first question is, how did you guys first hear about Riverplace? How did it come on your radar?
So really, we heard about it back like 2001, 2002, and we looked at the neighborhood. We decided to build at that time. So we moved further out west, out towards Lake Travis, enjoyed that for a while and lived there for 5 or 6 years. And then realized we wanted to be a little closer in, which was ironic because in 2000, 2001, Riverplace seemed like it was so far from downtown. Now it's pretty much considered close in. So we kind of passed on it the first time we looked and really regretted it, I think, when we built further out. So when we sold that house, we knew we wanted to be back in Riverplace, and that was 2011. So we've been there now for almost 9 years.
Wow. Okay. And so was there anything in particular about Riverplace that made you say, this is like, what made you say this is the place for my family?
Well, I think there's so many different things to do in the neighborhood. So there's several parks. You've got Suntree Park, which has a basketball court. It's got a playscape for the kids. It's got a huge pavilion with restrooms. You can have gatherings there, parties. We've had kids' birthday parties there. There's 2 huge soccer fields, just a baseball field. There's just so much to do, and you can take the kids on a nice day and just know they're going to be safe and have a lot of fun. And then at the bottom of the neighborhood, there's Woodlands Park, and there's also a place where kids can go fishing. I take my kids down there. We fish sometimes. That's got a couple. Let's see, there's tennis courts down there. There's not a basketball court at that lower one, but there's some soccer fields and just cool playscape. And it's just pretty. It's real serene. It's quiet, and it butts up against parts of Lake Austin there. So there's some water that's nearby, and see people throwing tennis balls in the water, taking their dogs down there to go fetch and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a cool place.
Cool. Very good. Now, so what do you wish you knew? What do you wish you knew moving in there that you know now?
Oh gosh. So the appreciation rate has been off the charts. So we definitely wish we'd have bought in there a long time ago. Of course, everywhere in Austin has fared pretty well the last decade.
Sure.
I think the reason we chose to move out further initially to build was we wanted some land, and we loved how we had 2 acres. It was gorgeous. It was beautiful. We just didn't have as many neighbors nearby. We didn't have as many kids to play with. Riverplace is families. I mean, there's a lot of folks that do not have kids in the neighborhood, but there are so many families in the neighborhood, and there's always kids at the park on the weekends. There's always gathering at someone's house. Or go play some basketball. And so I guess I wish I had known how many families had kids our age back then, and we probably would have made a different decision.
Gotcha. Makes total sense. So what would you say your favorite thing is? And it can be something you've already mentioned, but what's your favorite thing about living there?
I think the location's amazing. I mean, the views are beautiful. So we have a little view at our kind of a second story view at our house. There are some houses that have huge views. You can see the country club, another great benefit of the country club being in the neighborhood. So it's got a great 18-hole golf course, tennis courts, pool, lots of amenities, great workout facility. So I think if you're into fitness, the hike and bike trails, amazing. There's a huge hike and bike trail. In fact, it's so popular now, they're charging non-residents to access the trail. If you live in Riverplace, you can get on it for free. But on the weekends, you would see 40, 50 or more cars lined up on the road because it's so popular. So they decided to start charging non-residents to access it. So it's just a great neighborhood. So it's pretty. There's great views. There's tons of things to do. Very close to shopping. You got grocery stores, a lot of new restaurants that have popped in. That was a challenge for a while. I'll be honest. There wasn't a lot of great places to eat right in the neighborhood. Now there's several restaurants. There's probably 4 or 5 restaurants. You don't even have to get out of the neighborhood, and you've got great restaurants to eat at, and a couple bars as well. Some good places to go for evening. Bar appetizers and drinks. So it's just a great location.
Great. Yeah. So, and I want to circle back to location in a second for sure. Let me ask you one last question while we're on kind of the neighborhood in general. Tell me something that surprised you, that you didn't know about going into Riverplace, that has since surprised you.
Well, the traffic pattern, I think, surprised me. So, initially years ago, we really thought Riverplace was far out, hard, challenging to get to downtown, or maybe it's tough to get anywhere just because it seemed like it was far out. Honestly, living in the neighborhood, we're against the traffic pattern on most, for my commute anyway. I'm 20 minutes from the office. I'm kind of against the traffic pattern. So to get out of the neighborhood onto 2222, which is the main east-west road out of our neighborhood, that in the morning is pretty congested, but you're only on it for a couple miles. Either direction in the morning, the commute is so much easier than I thought it would be from Riverplace. And if you're more west of Austin, certainly you can deal with the traffic a few extra minutes. You can plan ahead, but we feel pretty fortunate that our traffic patterns, it's just not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Gotcha. Now, where do you commute? Just so folks know, what part of town do you commute to from Riverplace?
Yeah, so from my house in Riverplace to the office, my office is in the Arboretum. So I go take 2222 and I can take 360 north to the Arboretum, or I can take 620. I can go either direction. It's within a minute or two either way, but most of the time I go east on 2222, then up to 360 to the Arboretum. Our office is on Jollyville, and so it's kind of northwest Austin.
Okay. And what just give me a ballpark. How long does that take you?
Oh, it's 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Yeah, it's easy. Yeah.
So I think the same could apply, or within 5 minutes, to the Domain as well. I mean, Domain and Arboretum are close, right?
From my office to the Domain is 8 minutes, and to get from my house to the Domain is actually quicker than to get to my office. Yeah.
No kidding. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So what's the one thing that you would change about Riverplace if you could change it?
The golf course is too hard. So bring a couple dozen golf balls. So it's good. Man, we feel super fortunate, to be honest with you. I don't know that I really would change a whole lot. I mean, you've got the country club there. There's a restaurant in the club. There's restaurants at the front of the neighborhood. I guess it would be nice if there were some more community sports games and practices in the neighborhood. We go to Steiner Ranch for a lot of our games and a lot of our practices. Again, it's 9 minutes to get it's a super short drive, so it's not a huge deal to leave the neighborhood. We have some practices in the neighborhood, but for the kids' sports, we do have to travel a little bit for that. So that may be, adds a little bit to the to the time. Okay. That we spend.
No, fair enough. So let's talk grocery stores for a minute. What's your nearest grocery store?
H-E-B, and it's about 7 minutes from my house.
7 minutes. It's not bad. And we all know not all H-E-Bs are created equal. So scale of 1 to 10, rate that H-E-B for me.
Oh, it's 10. It's a really good store.
Okay.
And then so it's a big H-E-B, but it's not a super plus H-E-B. If you want to go, there's one at Anderson Mill, which is like 3 miles up, and that's a plus. So it's like a super double the size H-E-B. It has electronics and stuff. Yeah, it's huge. We don't go to that one very often, but yeah, they have everything that you could possibly want. And
you're fairly close to the Randalls in Steiner, right?
We are. Yep, that's 12 minutes or so.
Yeah. Okay. So your kiddos, do they go to school? They go to the public schools for Riverplace, right?
So we have one in elementary school at Riverplace Elementary, and then we have one in middle school, which is at 4 Points Middle School, which is just across the road. It's an extra 3 minutes, from our house. So we're real close.
So, okay, both feeding into the school system, middle and elementary. What are your all's thoughts on the schools?
We've been very impressed. I got to say, we've been very impressed. Our older one's now in 6th grade, so he went all the way through kindergarten through 5th grade at Riverplace. We now have a 1st grader as well, so he's kind of going through the ranks there. And honestly, we've been, I personally grew up in the private school system. My wife grew up in the public school system, so we've experienced both. And not having a lot of experience in the public schools growing up, I wasn't sure what to expect. And I went to a really small school, so it's big, but the kids still get one-on-one attention. They still get a lot of, personal help, personal attention when they need it. Our kids have been in some extracurricular activities with the school as well. We've been impressed.
Okay.
My wife's real involved with spin school, classroom mom, and does stuff like that. So she's up there a lot and more, has a little more time to spend at the school than I have. But yeah, overall, I would rate it a plus. And really, I judge it by, and this is maybe oversimplistic, but my kids jump out of the car and they run. They're excited to go to class every day.
Wow.
That tells me a lot, right? So if they were saying, I don't want to go, this and that, and complaining, I feel like that would be a red flag. I'd need to probe a little bit more about what's going on. But no, they love to go to school. We've been really impressed.
Now, a lot of the folks in Riverplace. Would you say that most people do the public schools there, or is it kind of a mix between public and private?
I think it's a mix. We have some friends. Our next door neighbor goes to international school, private school. We've had some friends that have gone Montessori. We've had some friends that have gone to multilingual schools so they could learn additional languages. So I'd say the majority of them probably go to Riverplace Elementary and 4 Points Middle School. And then, of course, that feeds into Vandegrift, which is a 6A school now, and they have 2,600 students. I'm probably off by a few, but It's huge.
Yep.
So it's a very competitive high school. They grew quickly, and it's really a highly rated school. So yeah, I think it's been popular.
Great. Okay, man. Last question. This is it. Yep. You've done great. Although I really wanted something negative about the neighborhood. You just love it, I think. You just
told you the golf course is hard.
I know that's. All right, I'll take it. I'll take what I can get. Okay, so so just complete this sentence. These are kind of cheesy, I know, but okay. I would recommend Riverplace to anyone who. I'll leave the rest to you.
Has kids, loves outdoor activities, wants to be fairly close into Austin proper, and enjoys an active neighborhood with fun neighbors and social events.
Perfect. So, John, thank you so much for your time. I tried to make it through this. You came in completely unprepared and knocked it out of the park. So good job, man.
Thanks.
I mean, I guess you live there, so you're kind of prepared, but you know what I mean.
I'm a little biased.
A little bit. But. All right, man. Hey, thank you again. And we will, I'll put your information down, guys. I'll link in the description to John's information. If any of you want to reach out for him, have lending questions, want to talk to a local lender, he's the guy I'd recommend. See you.
Perfect. Thanks, Ray. All right.
Thanks.
Care.